Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. My name is Gerhard Roof, and I serve in the presidency of this nonprofit 501c3 organization. We normally start with a word of prayer. I'll do that today. Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful to Thee for the many advantages that technology gives us in working on our family history. We appreciate the those advantages and pray that we will be able to share our experiences in a way that is meaningful and encouraging to those who participate and listen, either live or hereafter. We seek thy blessings on all of thy children, that they may turn more to thee in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Today is the 11th of October, 2025. Our next monthly broadcast will be on the 8th of November. You can receive notification of the monthly speakers and their topics from our news release blog and from our website at uvtagg.org or blog.uvtag.org. We welcome the supporting members of our group on this Zoom broadcast and anyone else watching on Facebook Live on our Facebook page or on the recording afterwards on Facebook or our YouTube channel. If you'd like to make comments or ask questions during the broadcast, please use the chat feature on Zoom or post them in comments on Facebook for this broadcast. When the presenter asks questions for the audience and you are on Zoom, you may also unmute your mic and turn on your camera to interact directly. We're very pleased to have Marilyn Thomsen as our presenter today. Her presentation, AI Opens Court Records, is very timely. I love the advantages that AI gives to our family history research. AI, she says, has opened court records like never before. The full text search at FamilySearch locates family in court, probate, will, guardianship, deed, and land records. The summarize feature cuts through legal jargon. This class will talk about how to recognize in what parts of the court process these documents are created, how to attach the sources to the family tree, and use the AI-generated transcripts in research logs and research plans. Yeah, artificial intelligence is the current big topic in family history. Marilyn comes with a world of experience in family history to us, and those of you that have been watching us for a while have seen her multiple presentations. You may remember, if you've been a member of Zoom, that she edited our Tagology newsletter for 10 years. She graduated with a BA from BYU back in '05 with the family history focus in U.S. Southern research. She volunteered at the U.S. and Canada floor at the FamilySearch Library in Salt Lake City. She has served as a director of 3 different family search centers now, as we call them. She did DAR training and evaluated DAR applicants. She's loves to dig into her Danish, Isle of Man, and English ancestors, and recently visited there, spending time in those home areas, their parishes, and archives. She is one advocate of helping others and does that not only ably and capably, but exceptionally. We love you, Marilyn.
Oh,
The
thank
time is
you.
yours.
Oh, thank you. That's my paycheck, right? That was
We
wonderful.
appreciate your sharing your experience.
I really appreciate this. I think how others have helped me. Even I wanted to just say back in January, we had Krista Lee Manuel, is it Manuel? Who gave a powerful presentation that really has helped me a lot. And I recommend going back into our YouTube channel and watching that if you haven't. Since she gave that presentation, there have been the summarization part of the family full text has come out. And so I'm excited to have had a little space between my class and her class. First of all, because she's so amazing, and so I can't compare myself to her. But I just wanted to say this is exciting. So we're going to cover, how to use it to search court records. We're going to talk about transcription summaries, how to improve searches, and how to attach court records on the tree, and how important the digital research logs can add to your success. And so let's start out by saying, what is full text search? I'm just going to quickly say, if you use Chatbox or those are called, or Chat GPT, those are called Chatbox. And full text search is an in-house AI that works within FamilySearch. How to use full text search, and it used to be part of labs. Okay, so this is the first option. And you can see that, right, Gerhard? Okay, so you'll click
Yes.
a full text search. That's option number one under the search dropdown. The next option is over on the front page when you go to search for an ancestor, then this menu pops up and the full text search is down at the bottom. Okay. The next option is that when you're searching for records, it's up there on the menu bar. And you'll be able to click that and it will jump into the full text search. And the last way, I have to say this is actually a really good way to get into full text search. And that is when you go into the library catalog and you're going down through records in a locality, there will be the little image of the camera, and then right next to it is the link to be able to view those records with the full text search. Let me mention here, as you know, sometimes images and records are not available at home. You have to go to a family search center to be able to view them. And this is important to recognize that, and because there are a lot of court records that you actually have to be in a family history center to be able to view. And so if you know that, then you know that, and then this family search text will work on those images. But if the images aren't available, then it's not going to automatically pop up in the other ways that we're going to search. Another thing to take a note of is this DGS, the group image number. I'll show you in a sec where we're going to paste that. So when you're into full text search, there's the top image, okay? These sort will always be available on each of the screens, and you can go back and change these options. At the bottom, these are the tips to be able to put into that upper thing, and using quotation marks, using your plus, using your minus, using question mark, all of those Boolean type narrowers, okay? You can put them into up here. My experience is that this is not, how can I say, the best way to narrow the search. These are important. Don't say, it's important because it opens up other options for names and things like that. But for example, this year range, if you only use this year range, you will find that it's still, if you put 1800 in there, to, say 1800 to 1850, you'll find that you're still getting 1900. And for some reason, AI just doesn't seem keyed into this limiter. All right. The other thing is this group image number. That's where you would paste that to be able to facilitate narrowing what you're looking at, just a certain group of wills or things like that. So pay attention to that. Okay, so number one, there's the search tips. But now FamilySearch has this box that's popping up. It's a new way to filter. This is really important to recognize because this really works best with full text search to be able to really limit the numbers that you're getting. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that. Okay, so as what you would do is you can put that in that first box, or this is a way to do it is I've just put in New York over here and find a collection. And then comes up whole collections. And you'll notice at the top it has wills and deeds. Further down it has legal. And over on the right you can see the number of collections or records that these are going to access. Okay, so this collection of New York wills and deeds has 11 million. And then back on the legal records, oh my goodness, these are huge collections. So 27 million images. And so you can see the importance of limiting them. One of the things that this is doing is there are many jurisdictions for records. And also you'll have records that are in the state level, on the county level, on the city level, on a town level. And so by coming in this direction, you actually are accessing a cluster of records rather than going through the library catalog and just looking at, say, the town or just looking at a county records. Okay. So it covers, this collection covers many counties, but when you have, I'm going to show you, I put in Wheeler and Whitney, and I put in the county to limit the counties. And then the first thing that's going to come up is it will be the indexes. And that's another thing I really want to stress, that those indexes aren't the most productive for you to use, but just be aware of that. Okay, so then this is the limiter that really helps with AI that they have done. So we have our collection, still the will and deeds, and then over here it'll have a drop down of collections within that collection. Okay, and this slide is out of order. And then I've jumped to years. Okay, because this is really important to me. Can you see over here? Even you can click the 39 for 1700, but 6,000 for 1800. But on the other side, sometimes we miss on the 1800 that there's another drop down on the other side. And we're going to go to that page. Here I can limit it. My family is out of New York by 1818. And so therefore I don't have all of these other thousands of records that I'm going to be looking at. I'm able to really limit the dates. And this is probably one of the most frustrating things in the past that now is so much better. Okay. The record type, this within it is really helpful of the collection. You can see, boy, you can have all kinds of things that are in this record collection. Family Bible records, government records, public records, censuses, all of these things have been put into this wills and deeds. And so by taking and eliminating some of these, you may want to come back, put in your research, like I want to come back and look at the Bible records, but today, what am I going to really look at? What is it? I'm going to create a plan, and I can use this in my research log. Another thing to understand is some of these don't easily appear in the catalog. One of the problems we have with court records is that for example, wills may be registered in the deed books, and deeds can be in the will books, and all of these start to get mixed up together. So it's important to go ahead and maybe eliminate a few of those and then click apply. Often I will go back and I'll reselect or unselect things, and then I go, this hasn't changed a thing, and then I realize I haven't clicked that very important apply. This is what's going to come up next when you have clicked apply. Again, indexes are going to be here at the top, okay? And then look at this, guardianship records. Wow, I have had some really exciting things come up in these guardianship records options that we hadn't even considered, because guardianship records just aren't in indexes. If I'm looking through wills, if I'm looking through probate, they're a dense handwritten collection that often aren't looked at. And so this is one of the areas that has been opened up. So I clicked on the first one, okay, and it was an index. Look at this index. You'll recognize this index. And then I'm going to click on summarize, okay. And then this is what happens. All at once, it's organized all the names and the relationships. So it says Benjamin Harris is the representative, and he's the representative of Jonathan Muller, who's the deceased. And so this is one of the examples of how AI is cut through the legal jargon and is trying to use common words to help you understand who this index is about. If you go back, it has the two columns, and you're saying, but what is this? Who is this? You'll notice what's missing is it doesn't have the page numbers. It doesn't tell you where to go. And so you will have to go back to the original paper and the original transcript if you see something in there that you want to look at, okay? All right, so as you're going through these documents, one of the important things you need to do is keep track of what you've looked at and what you've eliminated. Often the same record will come up over and over and over again, and part of it is that these categories have overlapped, and so AI says, oh, well, this is a deed, oh, but this is a will, oh, but this is, and so keep track, keep your research, notice what you've read, what you've eliminated, and it will help your time. Another important part to recognize is that this has created this transcript. And so it's an OCR, and this isn't a good example. I should have given you a better example. And so, but you can look through and you can see how it may have misread your family name as something else. So this is something you want to put into your list of names to search, so that you can help the AI look for other optical character versions of your family names. And that will help to broaden the search and help you, okay? Up at the top, there is a little pencil, and you click on that and you can go in and actually change things that AI has misread. And then that will help others to be able to come in and have a better AI, and it will continually improve as we do this. You'll notice at the top also there's the download button, and then there's a copy that you could just copy this and paste it in to something the way it is. So this is kind of one of those wonderful deeds that you run into. Deeds often aren't used as well as they could because we have to use our brains. But this is one of those fun deeds that actually has who they are, where they were born, where they were died. It had 3 generations of who died before the other person, as they're trying to eliminate who is going to inherit the property. And it's interesting, but this is in deeds, even though this is a court record. It's submitted to the Supreme Court of the District of Columbia to be able to prove who is going to be able to inherit the land. Okay. I clicked on the summary of the document, you'll see over here, it details the estates and heirs of several members of this Whitney family. And then it gives you the dates, it gives you the names, it gives you the relationships. And so this very dense document has all at once been simplified. I love this one. Wells Whitney is the brother and husband of Emerlong Whitney, the father of Lemuel P. Whitney, and C. Whitney, and Frederick Whitney. And so it has put relationships together. And it's given date deaths. And how wonderful to be able to have this in a text form so that you can go ahead and use this in your further research. This is an example I have given because there are actually 3 mortgages. Mortgages are not the same as deeds. It's a contract between 2 people for a piece of land. And but notice that the transcript is actually of this page, okay, of this record, of these records on this page. And you and I, when we're looking at the page, we'll say, oh yeah, it's pretty obvious. There's 3 different records, but AI can say there are 3 mortgages. And then when it summarizes these 3 mortgages, it's doing all of them. So as you're looking at the transcript or using the summarization of the transcript, you need to take a step back from AI and look at it like a human being and understand what is not there. Some of the things that the AI can't do is, or hasn't done, is it hasn't put the places where the individuals are from. It's just put the individuals' names, okay? This is so important in genealogical research because it helps us to eliminate contemporaries with the same names. It helps identify where a person may have come from, if they are already living in the county or if they're coming from another county and this is their first purchase of property in the county. Really an important piece of information that isn't in the summarization. It doesn't include the amount of money that was paid or was part of the mortgage. If the money is large or if it's a small amount, it could include a relationship because they're a son or they're a grandson. It doesn't include the land descriptions, and this is important for you to use when you go back to tax records to see when someone dies, that piece of land, if it's broken into a certain number of parts, you know the number of heirs, you know if somebody else is starting to pay on the land or if an administrator is starting to pay on the land. That land description actually is a valuable clue for genealogists. It did not include the witnesses. I don't know why, I can't explain, but as I went through, I went, oh, it jumped right over the witnesses. The witness couldn't speculate on possible relationships between the deeds or between the mortgage. and this, you put that into a timetable. That timetable can tell you things such as an older parent who is passing land off to children, or a person who is selling off their land before they die. There are relationships between the deeds, and those are things that you need to track and put into your research log and make ideas. AI also cannot suggest other records. As soon as I am looking at this information, I'm saying, oh, I need to go and check this record. I need to see taxes. Oh, look, this is going to put in the timeline because it shows these people are living. So many other things that you can do with this that AI won't tell you to do. Now, one thing AI, it's so wonderful to have is, for example, in this one, Phelps and Gorham are land agents who basically for this whole county were mortgaging or selling the property. And so AI can look up about New York land records and give you a good summary and explain about who these people are within this county. Another thing AI does is it's called hallucinations. And so you need to be very careful about reading the transcript. And so this is an example. This transcript, if you'll notice, when it says 12th, they recognize the Latin squiggle that means TH with a dot underneath. They got the day and they got September, but then it's 1801. And it has misread it as 1854. And then it hasn't been able to understand that this is a second clerk and an initial, and then the clerk's name is underneath. And so these are the kind of things that you have to recognize in the transcript, that AI doesn't understand that the 13 is the page number. And so it's worthwhile to copy it, to paste it into a larger screen, and to go through the transcript. Okay, at the top of the full text search, there are these tabs. And I want to go through these because often people jump in, they're so excited about the transcript, and that they don't get into understanding what these other tabs are about. So we'll start with this one that says show, at the far right, it says show keywords. If you turn it off, then all of those yellow little things can disappear. So let's say if I'm going to take a little screenshot of a signature. I just recently collected all the signatures for an ancestor that showed the name that she was using at a certain period of time, and how she changed her signature as time went on. I didn't want her signature to be highlighted in orange. And so therefore I turned off show keywords. And then when I was done, I turned it back on, because I wanted to see all the people and all the places that it had highlighted. Okay. Names. This is if you're doing an indexed, a pre-indexed collection, such as a census, then you'll say, oh yeah, I wanted that. But because this image is an index, that's what you're going to see. The next part is the button that keeps the image of the transcript up on the screen. However, next to it is information, and you really want this tab to open up. But if you click on information to get all of this information, then your transcript's going to disappear. And so you'll want to be able to toggle between those two screens. In fact, you may want to create a duplicate of that tab so that you can go ahead and use that information as you go forward. In this screen down at the bottom is citation. Okay, and this I adore this, especially for my research log. Can you see this citation that has the image number? It has, what collection it is, what the image group number is. And so if I write this down and I'm going along and I'm going, oh my goodness, this is a grandson, I've got to go back to that image. If I have this in my research log, I'm able to go back to this image using this. So I love that there's a little copy thing here. I can just copy it and I can just paste it into my research log. I don't have to think because AI has done this for me. Another thing is how it's parts of these collections. And then there's a down arrow that you could go into the research wiki and perhaps look up the land records for New York County, Ontario, or New York, Ontario County. Okay. And then if you were to click on the probate, then it can even bring up the catalog group, and you would be able to narrow your search to be able to look for other things. Okay. Remember, we talked about the film notes and the group numbers, and this will get you back to this collection, and you will be able to come back. Okay. So this is a really important button. It's called Save the Record. And what it's going to do is going to attach this record to FamilySearch. At the top of the screen, when you click on Save the Record, this menu drops down. It says attach it to a person in the tree or to save it to your source box. So you do want to attach it to tree, but maybe you just want it in your source box. I like to add these to my source box because as I'm going along, I'll recognize that, let's say, oh, a witness isn't in the family, but this is one of the people I am tracking in the fan club. And so then I have it in the source box. I'm able then to just go ahead and save that record to another person. Whereas if it's been saved to a person in family tree, it's really difficult to get that record attached to a person who isn't in the family. You kind of have to start the process all over again. So I save it to the source box. I also attach it to a person in the family tree. So now there are 4 steps. If we click on attach to a person in the tree, the step 1 is the screen that is up here in the middle. As the first little box, it's the source title, and they have just pasted in Ontario. Wills. They don't even have Ontario, New York. They have wills. And so I am going to stress this is really an important box to revisit. A source title, I say, needs to have who, what, when, and where in it. So who is the main person that you are looking at? Whose will is this? Put that in there. What is it? It is his will, but within that will there will be many pages. It could be the inventory. It could be maybe it's a probate where it went intestate. And they have an administrator. And so putting what this is, because you may be saving many images to different people that are involved, putting what this that you're looking at in here can be very important. Recently, we had a family will, and the person handling it had to put the mother's will and the mother's probate into the daughter's probate. And so even though it's the little same collection, I had to label each of the pages that I'm saving to these different people. People will love you. They'll say, oh, look at this person. Look at what they've added. Look at what they've taken time to help me to understand where we are. Putting when the will is, this range doesn't help a person at all when they go into sources. So put the date in there. And then, of course, the exact date is right here, but put a year in there or something so that that title appears at the top. And then where, look at where it is. Could be Canandaigua, in Ontario County of New York. And that kind of thing won't appear as put the date in so that your sources sort in the proper order. An important thing to know is that this window can be stretched. So if you've made a copy of your transcription, you can say, oh, I can put a lot of notes in this area. You can't put everything you'd like to, but you can put a lot of notes. This saves other people time to know what is in there, and it'll save you time if you go back to FamilySearch to the source, because you'll say, no, wait, was so-and-so named in that? And because you've added it here, that will save you time. And then here again is the option to add it to the search box. The little thing on view group metadata, you can put the metadata into this field because it isn't really saved what the description is. So for example, if this is shared with ancestry.com, then the metadata of what it is isn't shared, and that's up to you, okay? And then you can view if it's been attached to anybody else. Okay, so this is step 2, 3, and 4 of adding it to the tree. So on the first one, you can select a person, their personal ID, number, if you know it, it isn't an option that appears, and there'll be a long list of people that you have been recently working on that is there, and you can search for that. If you click the little search arrow and you say, no, this isn't even there, this is a new person that I just happened to pop up, and you can find it in the family tree, or you can click this. On this first, this step 2, I'm always wanting to click multiple people because, my goodness, the whole family was named in this. But on this one, you're just wanting to click the primary person that is connected to these people. Then on the next page, then it's going to pop up with the children and the spouses and the parents, and that'll give you the opportunity to add them into the people who this source gets attached to. And then finally, step 4 of 4, it says it's going to be attached to the following people, and then it will ask you for the reason you're attaching the source. These reason statements can actually be a gift that you give to other people. Not everybody's really quite as smart as you people who have come to watch classes and educate yourself. I know this about you. And so if you just pause for a minute and you say, the reason I am attaching this record is because this provides, say, the name of the daughter's husband, or just little things like that other people may not observe, okay? Down here it says, explain why you think this is a good match. Yeah, I guess you can do that one too, okay? So now we want to just step in. I mentioned how there's chat box like ChatGPT and things like that. You can use the transcript and you put it into those chat boxes. One that was recently recommended to me, and I was going to put it on here. I didn't put it on here. Oh darn. Anyway, okay. Next time I will. Anyway, there are a lot of these chat boxes. So there's the chat box that Elon Musk has that people love, and that was recommended to me. Perplexity, there's GPT. A lot of these are really good. Try each of them out, and the way I'm telling you, they will come back with different results, and you'll find that one of them it listens to you and it understands how you talk and it helps you in it. Okay. So then these are these chat boxes, you use them to process the transcripts. So as I said, the full text is within FamilySearch. It's AI used within FamilySearch. Chat boxes cannot look inside of FamilySearch. It can't go into a pedigree on FamilySearch. It can't go into Ancestry.com and pull a record out. It cannot look at pedigrees in Ancestry.com. There's a block, there's a wall there. And so using these transcripts to process, it's just another tool. Think of it that way. And they can summarize and sort the transcript data. Remember how I told you how the summarize didn't include the details, the names and the deed, the description of the property, okay? It can organize the information in a different way. So you can put it in a table, you could have it put it into a conversation. It can take the transcript and say, you could say, oh, make this so a fifth grader would be able to understand what the will is saying. Also these chat boxes can brainstorm ideas and help you on where else you could look for additional information. And it can teach you basic things, okay? But it cannot do well. It cannot do original research. It can't get into Ancestry. It can't do deep record analysis. These chatbots haven't been trained to really analyze genealogy. Maybe in some future world they will be able to. But they don't understand how records relate to each other. They can't create conclusions about your families. So for example, they can't look at negative evidence, okay, and say, oh wow, this person isn't included in this record, in this will, or they can't look at and say, oh wow, this is the name of the wife, and it's a different wife, and the name is different than his other will, so that means the first wife has died. And that's the type of negative evidence that you can do that they cannot do, and they can't make those kind of conclusions. So this is Steve Little and Ritz Tech. He's a presenter there. Steve is been nominated to be over AI for the National Genealogical Society. And if you just go into YouTube and say Steve Little in genealogy, you will have wonderful options to watch. So last, Ritz Tech, he has this cute little presentation that's only about 5 minutes, and he explains how to talk to these AI chatbots. And he holds up his fan and he says, there's 5 things you need to know when you're talking to AI. And he says they need to know their role, they need to know their goal, they need to know their, they have to have some text to work with, they need a task to work with that task, and then they need the flask, meaning, and that. So let's talk about those. He says you need to encourage the chatbot to think in a certain way. So he explains, imagine you're a genealogist, imagine you're a professional genealogist. You could say, imagine you're a 5th grader. Okay, so those are the roles that you can tell him to be. He's cute. He says you could imagine that you have a southern drawl and you talk like, you know, so, but anyway, then he says you need to give this chatbot a goal and state what your goal. Your goal is to collect information from a probate record. And then you could just, and then you need to give him the text. And then you need to say in the attached PDF or in the attached Word doc or in this attached spreadsheet, then so you tell them, and then you put that into, you give it to them, you upload it, and they can do uploads of docs and PDFs and spreadsheets. And then you say, this is your task. And the task could be extract the names of the deceased family from the document and then alphabetize them and then show their relationship. And if there's a relationship, show where in the probate the phrase provide the phrase that you have seen gives you the relationship of these two people. And so you can expand this to be able to give you a report back with exactly what you need, okay? And then you tell them what container you want the bot to put it in. So you can say, do you want it as a list, or I want it as a table? A recent story I heard up at FamilySearch, there is one of their patrons that maybe is a little on the spectrum, but she does incredible research logs. So they put her research logs into the chat box, and they said, please put this as an article for a genealogical magazine. Using these are the rules for a genealogical magazine. And when it came back, they said it was astounding to them how it had included the sources, and it had attached it to the names, and it had put it in a genealogical format. They said it was incredible what this chat box had done with her spreadsheets. Okay, so taken together, this is from Family Tree Magazine. Andrew Cox colorized these different roles in here. So imagine you're a genealogist. Your goal is to collect information from a probate, extract the names, and then alphabetize and put their state of relationships in a table. Okay, and so that's what you would be telling, and then you make a copy of this and you put it into a research log, so that then once you've got this system down, you can just copy and paste this each time you repeat this task and you need to go back and do it. Okay, so then we need to talk about research logs. This is really important. I was told from friends, research logs, the National Genealogical Society says, you need to think, will someone else, including your future self, be able to retrace my research steps based on the information I put in this log? And what is the research question, and am I staying with my plan? And you don't think of a research log as a plan or helping you to stay on task, but it is. And so I have trained myself when I go to sit down to do research, before I open up FamilySearch, I open up a research log. Because as soon as I open up FamilySearch, it's going to pop up and say, oh, looky here, here's some records we have on so-and-so, or, oh, have you seen these images? Or, and it wants me to go all of these different places. And maybe those places are okay, but that research log, even if I do go that place and I find something, I need to keep track of what I've seen and what I have done and where I've been, and be able to return. So, but they're especially critical with full text search. And these are the reasons. It'll bring up the same document and the same people you've eliminated. You can say, oh no, this is the wrong person. And so in a research log, you can make a little area that says, these are not our people. And you can put an area that says, these is the fan club. And so let's add this person to our fan club, okay? And then a neat thing about a research log is you can sort the information by time, place, and name. You can bring important details and important information together in a research log. And that's something that a pedigree can't do. You say, oh no, I put all my sources there. The other thing is it reminds you, you've already been there. You've already done that. You don't need to go there. You don't need to do that. This is the nil search that you had. So the question is, do we do paper research logs? Paper is better than nothing. I have to tell you, I have a wonderful cousin. I've been going through her paper. Amazing paper research logs. And as I have done, I found little pieces of information that that now, because the whole book has been digitized, I'm able to find additional pieces that she didn't get from using the index in the back of the book. Okay, so those paper research logs are valuable. But so you might think about going back and putting an old research log into a digital format. With digital, you can search, you can sort and filter, you can add informations, you can edit it as you find new information and your premises change. You can change the structure of the research log. Is it that you're trying to track the date, or are you trying to track the records that you have looked at? So you want to say, oh, I want to look at all of the probate records all together, or I want to look at all the cemetery records together to see if I've been at this cemetery and already looked at that. And then spreadsheets can have additional pages. Okay, so these are my tips. I start by filling the ancestor's name at the top. And I can't tell you how often I return to this. I say, no, wait. When was he married? Wait. What was his mother's name? What was his wife's name? When was she born? And so I just kind of put a little bit of family information at the top. Okay. I create also a name search list with all of those spellings. And then, really important tip, be consistent in how you enter. For example, do you use initials? We have one ancestor that has four names. And do I use all the initials, or do I use two of the initials, or how do I write his name? Okay. And then enter your day, month, and year. If you do it genealogically, it doesn't sort as well. Okay, and so get into a habit, maybe change it to year, month, day. Enter your city, county, and states. Are you going to use the postal abbreviation codes, or are you going to type out Maine every time, because you always get Maine confused with Massachusetts? Okay, make those decisions so you're consistent. Okay, and then create a fan club list, and then include maps or links to maps so that you can keep going back but not having to keep searching for that. So here is a sample from the New York Family History. A friend told me that she went in and asked a chat box to research for digital research logs, and she found exactly what I put up here, even though I put this in the handout. So here are some of the perimeters where it's searched. This is a sample of how information has been entered in, and you can go into more detail, you can do less detail. You see that this isn't using the repository call number. It says FamilySearch. You can paste in URLs, okay, with that. This is another sample. This is from the National Genealogical Society. It's kind of a fun way. I started to love this because I found that I wanted to see all the research census records together, or when I'm doing court records, I just want to be able to put all the court records. This one doesn't sort as well as the other way that has a record type as one of the columns, rather than having these designations at the top. But that's an option. When I started out, I started colorizing those different areas, so that then when I let's say with ChatGPT, all at once newspaper articles popped up, and I went, oh, okay, but I thought I was in court records, but wow, this is a good newspaper article that says when they died. And do I put it in newspapers, or do I put it in probate? And so this, some of the things you need to do. As you're going along, you're going to see you want to have additional sheets. So at the bottom of a spreadsheet or a sheet or a Google Sheets, you can add another sheet. So you would want to create, for example, a to-do list. you want to create a timeline. You can create people and reasoning statements. You can have one that says research attempts that didn't go anywhere, or correspondence, or evidence evaluations. I'll show you some of these that I have put into mine. So this one is research projects. And so I'm saying, wait a minute, what do we know about Pamela's second marriage? I want to come back and research that. But right now, I've got to stay with this family. So, oh, look, there's a garlic family. Oh, look, Uncle Samuel Lane. Oh, wait, where was he born? And those are little side projects that I can come back and pick up. Also, I can share this spreadsheet with other family members and say, hey, this is an important project. Would you have time to research this? And then they would be able to put their information into the research log and share that with you. Here's a sample timeline that you could have as one of those little things. And then correspondence. Oh my goodness. I put in emails and conclusions that I reached from phone calls. And I put in the correspondence. I put what their phone number is and what their email is. And this also works for courts and archives. Have a page that has courts and archives and who you've talked to and what they said they were going to get back to you, and understand that. This is a sheet for repositories, for context that I can move as I'm moving forward, that I could use. And then, of course, there's the Unlinked Contemporary, the fan club. This one, I'll tell you, in FamilySearch, because it is a wiki and people are trying to add people in that you've already eliminated. I go ahead and I have to take them back out, and I correspond with them. I say, this is the conclusion that we reached. Okay. And so therefore, we've decided this isn't happening. Even though you have put it into FamilySearch, even though it's in your, working with other people and things like that, they haven't read it and they've gone ahead and done it. And so this is just a quick reasoning statements that I can just say, oh yeah, that Timothy Wheeler of CPO in New York. Okay, we've got to go and explain to someone again. And this is how we have eliminated him. 30 years ago, we eliminated him. And they're still coming back because there are all these newbies that haven't been over the road that you have. So our time's up. I would like to open it up for questions if we have any time, Gerhard. But let me conclude with this really important thought. AI is a new tool, and it is changing in its accuracy. And so, for example, those transcription errors and hallucinations, and that it'll be frustrating. But know that this is going to keep getting better. And you are part of this amazing process that is occurring. You are a witness of this amazing process. And how exciting is it? So don't get discouraged with yourself. This will seem so overwhelming. Oh my goodness. Marilyn, she wants me to learn about Excel spreadsheets. And I know I bring my son in to explain Excel spreadsheets, and I think I get a 5-minute tutorial before they throw up their hands and walk out. Don't let that get you discouraged. Go ahead and be courageous and realize that you're like a little child in school learning new tools and new ways to do things, and be courageous and try it. And this tool and you are doing an amazing work, and other people are going to stand on your shoulders if you do it well, and they will be grateful for what you've done. Okay, Gerhard, should I stop sharing?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the comprehensive encouragement to share what you have learned and encourage us to do the same. Hey, we have a comment from one calling herself Genealogy Helper LaRue. She said,
Oh,
uh,
LaRue.
thank you for the training. I loved how you taught about attaching the record to the different family members.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you, LaRue.
The I don't have any other specific questions from or comments from Facebook, but I do have some questions myself. I'm curious what you have found in your own research with relationships that the summary feature gives you when you pull that up.
And that you know, it was the summarization is helpful to just weed through big documents, and court records are hard documents to read, and the transcriptions
Mhm.
are really hard to read. And I have to tell you, it's improved my ability to read the documents, because I'll go back and I'll say, "Oh my goodness, that is really what it does say." And my speed reading of handwriting, doesn't catch things that it does catch. And so I've been grateful for that. Also, it has brought up documents that I didn't know was there. We had a guardianship record that we have been beating, the dead horse forever, trying to figure this out. And there in a little guardianship is the person I think we were looking for. And if it hadn't been for the transcript that came up as part of the probate, we eliminated this person, the father, because he wasn't, but we hadn't seen the son. And in this instance, the son, the family moved when he was about 18 years old to Ohio. And so therefore he didn't have descendants. His father died when he was 10 years old, and he just wasn't even on our radar. And so by
Mhm.
bringing up that record, all of us were going, oh my goodness, the mother remarried. She had a different name. His name changed to the mother's name in the census. And so he wasn't even on our radar. And that's the kind of experiences I'm having with using this.
I remember one specifically, not with this particular feature that you've described, that was used by somebody else that where they had Chat GPT analyze a census page,
Mm-hmm.
and the census is typically list relationships, at least to the head of household. And it made a whole bunch of mistakes in identifying a family, in interpreting what that meant, because it was not a usual family type situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I have not in the past spent a lot of time with what you're designating as a fan club in
Oh,
keeping track of records. I've kept track of if they're like godparents,
oh yeah.
because often godparents
That good
are
German
related.
research. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah. You
German
gotta do
research, yeah, lists godparents, and so I've used them. I've worked with them, but I haven't done that with witnesses of other transactions, where sometimes they are close individuals that might be related, or neighbors, or ways of helping you find additional information.
that.
Fan club, I thought that was a great designation.
So, Rice Camp, one of the professors at BYU had us do something. We had to take a census of an entire county. We created a table and we looked at where all the people in that county were from. And from that, we extracted a migration pattern for that county. Okay, so now let's pretend you take the transcript of an entire county, which is not as difficult as it used to be. And let's say you take and you then give that to a chat GPT and say, give me all of the people's places of origin. And you could say, and the origin of their parents, their mothers, and their fathers for this county. Then all at once you have a really powerful tool for you to start to see who this migration, who these people around are. So there's just amazing things that now you can do that was it was valuable scholarship and valuable research, but we don't. And so, like you say, this fan club, I would never, fan clubs are so hard and I wouldn't keep track of them. But now that I have this little spreadsheet, I can just paste it in there. I'm not typing everything. I'm just cut and pasting it. And then I can ask it to sort it, all of these names together and show me where they are and who they are and if they were there at this period of time. So, yeah, it's a new world.
Yeah, I'm curious which of the chat bots that you prefer. You've played with a few of them, it sounds like.
You know, I've just done ChatGPT and Perplexity, and then you know what, Catherine Grant, the one that she really likes is the one that is Elon Musk. The what is the name of it?
Something like Gork or something like that. Is that what?
Something in XII is kind of the abbreviation.
Oh, okay.
I had it here, and I actually was going to put it into the PowerPoint, and I didn't get it in. So,
Okay.
okay.
Anyway, I realize after listening to you that I really need to spend some time going through the recording of this class and pause it and do the exact same things in the text search feature that you were describing. That's going to be really helpful. I haven't spent as much time in that as you have.
Yeah. So
So
good,
I'm looking forward to doing that.
good, good. Yeah. The blessing of webinars.